These are the 5 things I wish I knew before getting into the OFM space and things that I would take into account moving forward if I was starting from zero. Now, I've been in the OFM space for the last 2.5, 3 years, and I've generated over $20 million and made $7 million in profit in the last 3 years alone. First and foremost, chatting is not everything. When we first got into our management space, or when we first got into, building out our agency, we put so much emphasis on the chatters to the point where I was paying our chatters, because they were American, 70% of the profit. Since our agency was doing about $300,000 a month in profit, I was bringing home like $5,000 to $10,000, sometimes $15,000 a month. And with that being said, I honestly wasn't sure if that's how agencies were supposed to operate. I wasn't sure if that's how a company was supposed to operate. And I had reached out to some other people that I knew that were, successful in the business world. And little did I know that tech and finance and info and digital products and agencies, all of these have wildly different profit margins. And so when I had talked to them, these other people that were successful, and they were successful to some degree, it was like the software side of things, as well as like the software agency backend. And they had told me that their profit margins were like 15 to 20%. And I was under the impression that that was fine, that was normal. And after doing like more research, I found out that like Apple and Best Buy and all of these bigger companies also have like 15 to 20% profit margins. So I was under the impression that what I was doing was perfectly fine. What I came to realize is OFM is a very unique industry where your product is actually free and the development of the product is also free. So it's not safe to say that your profit margins should be the same in an industry where the product and the development and the manufacturing of the product is free in comparison to tech companies that need a massive back-end team, products, parts, development, manufacturing. It makes sense that their margins are so incredibly low. Chatting, on the other hand, is not something that should eat up majority of your profit margins. And given that OFM is one of those few industries where you can have 80 to 90% profit margins, there's no reason in not capitalizing on it and trying to structure the entire business in a way that a tech company is set up. Not only is the business model different, but the profit margins capabilities are just significantly higher. So what we ended up doing is we just pretty much put all of our focus into marketing and traffic, because that was the difficult part. Chatting is something that generally anybody can do. And if you can outsource your chatting to another agency for 15% of tips and messages, it just saved you 70%, unlike me when I was paying 70% to our chatters. So alongside it just eating up your profit, it also is honestly a waste of time dedicating all of this time and effort into something that you can outsource to another chatting agency. There's one thing that you can't really outsource, and that's the marketing to the pages. So if you dedicate all your time into the marketing and you actually understand and develop an understanding for the marketing, because there are fundamental marketing strategies. And once you understand the fundamental marketing strategies and you just outsource a chatting team, you have a system that is just going to automatically run in the back end. Number 2, there is a ton of fluff in this space. When I first got introduced to OFM, the first thing I did, just like any business, is you go to YouTube and you start watching videos and you try to figure out as much information as you can on it. The problem with OFM, and specifically OFM, because you got to understand that OFM is a very unique business model, considering like the parameters that it's in. I mean, you're in like the corn industry, and a lot of people don't want their faces to be associated with it. Now, it happens when you don't associate your face with your business and use it as a form of credibility. It means that you're dealing with a lot of, honestly, just sketchy people. I'm not gonna lie. OnlyFans management is like one of the smaller things that I do within like my day-to-day life and within all my business ventures. And I have to say, it's got to be the most sketchy ghetto industry that I've ever been a part in. People have no problem with trying to take down your Instagram accounts, take down your OF accounts, figure out how to scam you in any way possible. It's because people don't want their identity associated with the person that's doing OFM. And so they live like this duality where they have, who they are, but then they have this online persona. And it kind of just forms like this massive lying massacre of people claiming to have done this, but don't have any results to prove it. I mean, if you go and you just type in on YouTube right now, OFM marketing strategies, there's gonna be a ton of people that show up, but none of them are showing results. And if they are showing results, they're just screenshots of results. Or if you look really closely, they're all coming from Fake Dash. The entire industry is like probably the most disgusting industry in the entire world when it comes to actually making money. And so one of the things that I would highly recommend is you avoid the fluff, avoid people that are not showing you the results, but are just claiming to have done XYZ. It's really easy to claim that you have done something. And it's really easy to sign a model who's already making $100,000 a month and then taking credit for her efforts. But it's not so easy to actually show your input and your output based off your efforts. Number 3, traditional OFM sucks. I'm going to keep this one short because it's just not really a topic that needs to be extrapolated on. But when we first got into the industry or the sector, we immediately went to just signing models that were already pre-established. And now, while this works on like an agency standpoint, keep in mind, this isn't like a traditional agency. You're dealing with P. And with that being said, you're dealing with honestly some of the worst people in the world, whether it's creators or whether it's, business partners or people that you've met in the space. They're people that don't want to associate their identity with what they do. And so with that, you just have whatever the opposite of transparent relationship is with everybody that you work with, whether it's a creator or whether it's people that you've just met in the space. And it kind of just ruins the point of what an agency is. And it's pretty much just fulfilling a service. Now, with that being said, you're putting a lot of trust in people that you shouldn't put your trust in within this industry. And given that your profit margins are so high, I mean, like I said, you can have 85 to 90% profit margins. But when you run the traditional OFM route, you take a traditional agency, and a traditional agency just takes either a retainer or a small percentage of the earnings that are being generated. So if I sign somebody for 30% and she's making $100,000 and I make 30% of that, a certain percent of that is going to the team, a certain percent of that's going to the chatters, and I'm left with maybe $15,000. Don't get me wrong, $15,000 is a lot of money, but when we're talking about OnlyFans management right now, we're fully in agreement that you can have 80 to 90% profit margins. So if you were going to do this business, why not do it for what it's best at? And it's to put a lot of money in your bank account if you run it in the way that I run it, right? Take a model, sign her for salary, dump a ton of traffic to her page, outsource all of your chatting, and then if you make $100,000, you keep $95,000 of it. So anyway, just traditional OFM just doesn't make sense when you put it in like traditional agency style. If you're only taking 25 to 30% of a model's page, then honestly, why not just go and do any other business in the world? Because it's the same exact structure, but you're not dealing with, horrid people. Number 4, one strategy is all you need. It is so easy to, tunnel vision on 20 to 30 different marketing acquisitions out there because there are so many. You can run Reddit, you can run Twitter, you can run Instagram, you can run TikTok, you can run any dating apps, and then inside of each one of these are individual strategies. Twitter, you can run follow and follow, you can do algo boosting posts. I mean, each one of these has so many different marketing strategies inside of it that if you end up just spreading yourself so thin on so many different marketing acquisitions, you end up not winning any of them at all. And one of the rule of thumbs that I like to have is if I'm going to take any marketing at all, I'm only going to do, very traditional marketing acquisitions. And what I mean by that is they have a fundamental, long history of working. So one, you have paid advertisements, and this is Only Finder, and this is Creator Traffic. And these right here are fundamental marketing tools. Okay. Paid advertisements work, and they work outside of OFM. The next one that I work is, organic reels. The thing with organic reels is it's just starting to get more and more difficult, and so we stay away from organic. Alongside that, you also need the creators to actually do something. But then we have follow and follow or OFTV. OFTV, for an example, is literally the platform's marketing. There's not going to be any better marketing than the platform marketing you itself. So if you just capitalize on that, you at least have marketing for as long as OnlyFans exists. Okay. Now, follow and follow is theoretically, is just door-to-door salesmen. And door-to-door sales will always be valuable. Door-to-door sales will always work, right? And especially when you confluence multiple strategic points into, the strategy, then you have the higher success rate. So the only strategies that I do are strategies that I've done for 2-3 years now, and not a single one of them has gone down. Not a single one of them has struggled. Not a single one of them has been interfered with an algorithm or something ridiculous, because I only partake in fundamental marketing acquisitions that would be marketing acquisitions for any company. Hence one of the reasons why I'm one of the earliest peoples in the game. Number 2, one of the latest people in the game who's still doing better than everybody else. Okay. And then the last one is delegation is so easy in this industry. This has been one of the biggest industries that I have ever seen that has introduced the idea of delegation as much as it has. There's been a lot of businesses out there that, one, we have e-commerce, we have stock trading, we have Uber Eats, you have all these random businesses, but there's not too many pieces within those businesses that can be delegated. And I think OFM has been one of the biggest introducers to delegation of virtual assistants. And I want to say, like right now, I mean, if you're not delegating certain tasks, you're not growing at all. And one of the things that I've had my massive breakthrough on within like the OFM space is delegating everything, from accounts being bought, from follow running, from new proxies being renewed. Every single thing within my business is delegated. And what's awesome about it introducing delegation is there's so many different group chats that have so many people in there that are asking to be virtual assistants. Now, yeah, you do have to be a little bit cautious with the people that are just sketchy, and Filipinos that don't have the best track record of being trustful. But what I can say is delegation in this business has been probably like I said, one of the biggest breakthroughs for me, and I'm going to take it into any other business that I ever go into. All right, chatting is the least of your worries. Don't put too much time into the chatting, okay? I promise you that your time and your effort is much more valuable learning how to market and understand the fundamental marketing tools. 2, please be aware of all of the fluff in the space. If people are not showing you real live results and you are not actively confirming it yourself, chances are they're lying. Do not listen to anybody in the space who cannot show you the things that you want to see. Traditional OFM just simply sucks. If you're going to run that kind of marketing or agency style within OFM, you're kind of an idiot, given that OFM does have 85 to 90% profit margins. There's no point in not. One strategy is all you need. Please just put all your focus into one strategy that you know fundamentally works. There are a lot of strategies that work, but find one that fundamentally works, that is an actual marketing strategy opposed to random, meticulous operations that occasionally drive traffic. And lastly, delegation has never been easier. And I absolutely advise you to delegate as many pieces of your company as you possibly can. Other than that, like I said, I've been in the space for 3 years, and I've done a little bit over $20 million in revenue and $8 million in profit. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next one.